Hello YouTube and welcome back to the channel here today. Today we're going to be reacting to episodes 15 and 16 of Revolutionary Girl Utena. It's Utena Monday. We're very excited to be here to watch some new episodes of Revolutionary Girl Utena. It's going to be friggin' awesome. Can't wait. Last week we waded slowly into the deep pool of a new arc and kind of saw what it's about from the comments, which I guess I'll just get up now. It seems like this is going to be the trend. Like, we're kind of implying that we're going to do a very similar thing each time in a similar way to the rose duel structure of the first part, right? Instead of just those duels based on kind of any random thing and student council members and blah, it seems like we're going to bring in more characters and delve a little bit deeper into the subconscious, among other things. It's pretty, yeah, there's some interpretations to be had. Either way, we'll start the comments here with a comment from Ender Valentine. This episode, to me, is a litmus test to see if you're going to understand the rest of the series. When you said, "That's called grooming," I knew you would. Just know that this is not there by accident. As a show largely about power dynamics, Kane, I forget how to say her name already, being a high schooler, dating a school chairman is very intentional, right? Also, RGU, Revolutionary Girl Utena, is a deconstruction of shoujo tropes, including the way age gap and incest relationships are treated in those shows. That's an important angle of reading that it can't be ignored. I don't have that much experience with shoujo, right? I'm just like, that's not normal. That doesn't seem like the right thing to do. Listen, I was aware of shoujo tropes. I'm aware that these things exist within those shows, even up to and including Sailor Moon. Sailor Moon and All Mate Tuxedo Mask. Isn't that like a horrendous age gap, right? Again, not too experienced there, but please let me know. And again, there's a ton of other examples. Again, I'm just not that well versed. But in that same way, I believe there's a ton of bad shit that should be pointed out in shonen romance in a similar way. Even some seinen romance that is targeted at men. Like, some of it's really objectifying and bad and stuff. And I enjoy that kind of stuff sometimes. I don't know. I'm only human. That kind of thing, right? So I was like, is this something that women enjoy? Is it something that should be talked about and processed? Is it a case by case basis? And if we're actually like a serious show that's deconstructing tropes or perpetuating tropes, and what should be the answer there? I don't know. I feel like I'm in over my head a little bit in this area. I'm just calling what I see, I guess. I'm calling it like I see it. That's the correct turn of phrase there. And I'm having a good time doing it. So I don't know, if I'm on the right track, I'm on the right track, and that is good. The second paragraph here, we have a little bit of a different take on the wisdom tooth play from the Shadow Girls. The girl getting the tooth pulled is considered too young to be getting wisdom teeth removed, which is something you get later in life, just like Kane. I'm gonna say Kane. I don't know what I'm doing today, is too young to marry Akio. Utena responds to the play by saying pull it out, which is a simplistic response that kind of misses the point, showing her naivete. I can see that as well. I was just thinking that Utena saw this kind of thing now as kind of pulling teeth. She doesn't want to do it, but she kind of has to do it. But again, this is probably a more robust interpretation, considering I'm guessing you've seen the show before. Purin-kun? Purin-kun? Either way, evil gays have entered the chat, which is straight to the point. I think you could classify almost all Utena characters as evil gays, up to a certain point. Yes, so most certainly we're referring to Mikage and Mamiya, of course. Yes, I should have written down names as well. I neglected to do that, but yeah, they're certainly evil, and they're pretty certainly gay. So sure, evil gays, let's go. Chobo Ribby with the time code here got the same interpretation without the dirty side to it. So this is referring to the kissing of the sword stuff from Anshi, right? I could have went that direction. It was definitely in my mind. I just don't want to be overly crass on the channel, bending down and kissing the sword, so to speak. You get what I'm saying. We're all adults here, at least I hope we are. Next up, we have Victoria with just kind of a nice comment. Not much to joke or extrapolate this week. Just know that Tuesday mornings and the reactions that are provided then are the highlight of the week. I've really enjoyed doing Utena. I think it's great. So I'm really enjoying recording it. I'm happy that people are really liking it. That's the goal of this whole thing, right? Finding a match between what I like and what you guys like and want to watch. Perfect. That's what we're trying to do here. Maximiliano Ramirez Romero next comment here. In Japan, it is custom to change the last name according to the family that is in power. It is important to note that the last name Otori for Akio Otori means decoy, and Himamiya means princess in a royal princess kind of way. But if we scroll down here a little bit, Nakanai JP, and he's got JP in the name, you'd have to imagine that's pretty switched on. He's got the kanji to prove it. Otori means decoy, much like what we were doing with Monogatari. I remember Otori for sure. Otori Monogatari, is that even a segment? Yeah, it's the Nadeko stuff. And again, if you're Monogatari pilled, you know. But also Otori means male Chinese phoenix. So like, is that pointing to that direction or this direction? I'm thinking that maybe it's both. Maybe it's just this one. I think, again, much like last week with our stuff with revolution and circle and also the other meaning of revolution, it can be taken any way you want. Death of the author, whatever else, right? Also, Aisika, if we're continuing doing names here, Anshi comes from Hera Anthe, of course. A particular aspect of the Greek queen of the gods Hera, sometimes translated as Hera blossoming or Hera of the flowers. Depending on who's telling the story and when, she's sometimes happy about marrying Zeus and sometimes tries really hard to escape his advances before being captured and overcome. That's pretty direct. That's pretty direct, especially for, I guess, Anshi's contrary nature, let's say. Apparently, Akio is going to explain his own name as well, and we've got a bunch of other stuff about the other characters as well, up to and including Torga, Winter Bud, Utena as a calyx of a flower, much like a rose. There's stuff there, right? Juri is a tree in a diagram or lumber. Nanami, 7 fruits. Saionji, West Garden Temple. Miki, tree trunk. And Arisugawa is the last name of the royal family of Japan, so Juri has a lot going on in that regard. I love this show. Definitely got the Utena scholars coming out of the woodwork to explain names and stuff, which is the stuff I really enjoy. So yeah, names mean things, that's pretty cool. But continuing here, we have Sinister T talking about today's duel song, which is Inhuman Illusory Soul Fusion Magic, which is an interesting case that I mentioned the translation is kind of oldish English, right? Because it's actually an original English text, albeit one I'm not particularly familiar with. It's fucking Hamlet, baby. Getting some Shakespeare up in this bitch. So I did Shakespeare at high school because, you know, I think it's part of the curriculum or something in Australia. Anyway, stupid shit aside, I did King Lear and King Henry IV Part 2. So, and Macbeth. So, like, I'm not particularly familiar with Hamlet is my point. I didn't do any more Shakespeare than I had to. It wasn't my favorite thing in the world, even though I've got a begrudging respect for it. Maybe if we continue to do a Shakespeare thing, I should get a Sparks Notes up of Hamlet or something. I almost said Hamilton, which is a completely different thing, but maybe not unwelcome either. Chobo Ribby with a few time codes and a little bit of extra sauce here. First one here is when, like, kind of, they walk in and then Utena notices that they're smooching and then wants to get away. The elevator makes a really loud noise as they escape or try to escape, so that loud noise alerts them that someone's there, and then therefore she's embarrassed. That's the joke that I missed from that particular scene. I think this is just helpful. I don't think this is particularly spoilery. These are some episodes that should be in 2 parts, I guess. So if we're going on my current schedule, which is 1, 2, 1, 2, over a 2-week stretch, so last week I did 14, this week 15, 16, next week 17, then that next week would be 18, 19. So maybe next week I should push for 17, 18, and then do 19, 20 together. And then what it would be, 21, and then 22. We'll get back on track as well. So that maybe do 2 next week is my thought there. But maybe cut down on Konosuba as a result. I don't know, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I would imagine we're talking about Mamiya here in this time code. To add to the androgyny, a black bindi is typically worn by unmarried women in India. I believe this character has a bindi, I'm gonna imagine, based on this comment. But we'll see, I don't know. yeah, definitely playing in some interesting areas there, for sure. And here we have another interpretation of the whole caterpillar butterfly life metaphor thing. So this was Choboribi's interpretation. As an adult, a butterfly, you have something you've coped with and might describe as a small problem, but when you go deeper, which is moto fukaku, in the moto position, that's what moto means in that little sentence fragment. As you go deeper into the problem, back before you emerged as who you are now, often this small problem was big, right? I mean, I go through this all the time, even now, where like a couple years ago, like you know when you're just becoming an adult and you have to do things for the first time and you get like really scared before you like call the doctors or something or like book your car in for a service or something like that. It's the same thing here, right? Small problems to me now as a butterfly were bigger problems to me in the past as a caterpillar. So as I revert to a childhood stage where I was younger and hadn't blossomed yet, these problems are perceived as bigger, and then that leaves me more susceptible to this weird psychology elevator thing. That's what I would say anyway. Next comment here from Trientalis. Any sane person. No, you can't create a makeshift duelist by freezing their heart. Mikage. Haha, evil therapy elevator goes brrr. Indeed. This is interesting phrasing as well. We'll see about that. We're keeping it in the back pocket. Also this, as a former mostly lurker as well, I have a massive respect for the lurkers. They're my people. They are most certainly my people. Not that I don't enjoy the regular commenters as well. Just, yeah, a lot of appreciation for you guys for sure. iSeeker, next comment here. While Carl Jung hasn't gone anywhere, Sigmund Freud has now entered the chat. Time to take the elevator down into the mausoleum of the unconscious mind and hidden desires. Meanwhile, Anshi's leaving her id at home to share edamame with Utena instead of visiting her brother to do things in the dark for some reason. To this interpretation, are we calling Choo-Choo her id? That's delving into areas where I can't even begin to describe stuff like that. Because isn't id meant to be... Oh, is that the thing keeping your, like, kind of unconscious desires in check? Again, I need to brush up on my Freud, but I thought id would have been the thing you would have associated with sleeping with your brother, if that was the... at least smooching with your brother, which I think was the implication. Again, I'm dumb. I am Dumby. Please let me know what I'm doing. Yeah, fun comment. I liked that one. Next comment here from Isabella. TBH, Utena asking if the planetarium is indeed her brother is less stupid because it could be some Anshi weirdness stuff going on, right? Like, she is weird. She keeps animals everywhere. She's a little bit unorthodox. So maybe it could have actually been the brother. And Utena was just being nice. I don't know. It's plausible. And then a next comment here just kind of gushing about the arc a little bit. It's so good. It's so good, apparently, and things will just get crazier. I love how the first thing we see in this episode is a slow shot going down the memorial hall, down the elevator to the darkness. That's a great interpretation. I like that a lot. And then just as we feel like we're going down the elevator, the next thing we hear is the ding of the elevator at the very end, right? Much like the elevator that goes up the top. Which Anshi is using to see her brother, right? See what I mean? Like, one character's going down an elevator, another one's going up, but it's also like bringing this full motif into... It's just fantastic. It's just brilliant, right? And Mikage and Mamiya in a similar way, right? Being immediately mirrored with Anshi and Utena. Like, literally that one scene with those two characters together into another scene where the characters get off at the top level of the elevator, right? Isn't that great? I think that's great. I think that's pretty cool. Furthermore, Mikage has a pale pink hair, whilst Mamiya has a pale purple hair. Again, talking to their equivalents, kind of. I see a lot of Utena in Mamiya as well, but obviously there's the link between Mamiya and Anshi as well. All those characters kind of reflect each other now that I think about it. Also with the Shadow Girl part, but they have names apparently. So before we had Aiko and Biko, and now we have Siko, who is the new Shadow Girl in the new format. I seemingly recognize some character designs, or they had different designs now. So one of them has glasses and short hair, whilst another one has a bit of a ponytail. We'll keep an eye on it. I don't know if I'm going to recognize each girl specifically every time, though. Last comment here from Alex. I think towards the end here we get a little bit close to, like, pointing me too much in the right direction. I don't know. We'll say, why are the bodies not burnt straight away, but instead after that duelist is already lost? Are they planning to do something with the bodies further? We'll see. I'm watching the show. I don't know. And yeah, it turns out there was two Nanamis all along, two people that are in love with their brothers. And yeah, I always thought Mickey was just being humble, and he's busy with the student council, so he didn't want to have more on his plate. I'm guessing with regards to joining the Black Rose Society, Mikage seminar, any of that stuff. So yeah, I don't know. He's a busy guy, but I think we're going to get a little bit of Mickey this week as well, considering I think his sister is going to be one of the starring characters here. So again, is she going to go in the elevator of doom, and then we're going to find out what happens to her? I don't know. We're going to delve a little bit deeper into that character, somebody that I think deserves a little bit of a deeper dive, as I attempted to do back in episode 5. I don't know. We will see. Yeah, I'm going to watch the episodes now. Not much else to say besides I'm excited and I want to see what happens and stuff. So, chill stuff. If you like the video, consider liking the video. If you like the video and you want to see more, consider subscribing to the channel. About 40 away from 1,000. So subscribe if you haven't already and that kind of thing. Comment below to get them read out like I just did just then. Twitter, follow me on Twitter, I'll follow you back. And the Discord, join Discord, love Discord. Talk about Utena and anything else to your heart's content. And yeah, I don't know, I'm going to watch the episode now, episode 15 of Revolutionary Girl Utena coming right up. Rightio, I have episode 15 of Revolutionary Girl Utena up there ready to go. 23 minutes and 27 seconds on this one, so please sync up accordingly. Still using the some stuff subset thing, and picture-in-picture in the description below for those that need it. Rightio, I'll give you a 3, 2, 1 and we'll jump in. Rightio, 3, 2, 1, go. B-Papas indeed. We're back, it's Utena Monday. Do. This week's going to be a little bit different, because obviously I got today off, but I work a longer shift tomorrow, so may not be out as early as I think, unless I just edit it tonight. I don't know. More inside baseball stuff, we don't really care. Video may be slightly later than it normally is, I guess is the important thing. I'm keen to go back into this elevator of doom, and I guess through repetition get a better understanding of what all the metaphors at play mean, I guess. Yeah, it was really fun how he mirrored that shot there of Utena in the episode last week. I remember that. I'm interested about everything shattering then, almost like Utena and Anshi looking like they're in combat, but then they're facing the same way here? Question mark? Don't know. Also, I see no Mikage or Mamiya in this opening, which I guess is only natural if you're using the same opening through everything. Don't want to be too spoiled. Okay, this is a familiar shot. Some kind of sunlit garden over that way. Hello, Mickey. Indeed. Yeah, very similar. I swear I've seen Utena do those same shots before. Indeed. Reminded of that radiant thing, for sure. It's my brother's being weird. No way. Not Atushi's place. Yeah, complicated. Who the hell is this? Okay. What do you mean better now? Hey, yo. Interesting. What is going on here? Well, you're complicated. The landscape framed by Kozue, who I'm imagining is the sister's name, I think. Sure. Landscape framed. Oh, Torga still being a sad boy. He's put on that Juice World. He's fucking depressed as. And you're dressed up in your whole getup. You got the whole thing on. Sure. Okay. I'll leave it to Judy and whoever else. But you already tried that, though. Okay, so they're going to start to target student council members? Yeah. This seems very targeted at Mickey's sister. Gotcha. Very similar to last week. Like, insinuate thing, then show character thing is based off. And yeah, that is Kozue. Kozue? Oh, another one in my collection. No. True. Ooh. Very stressed. I've been here, buddy. I've been here. That's fun. Utena really has no clue. Not a brain cell to be had. Emotional brain cell, anyway. Choo Choo? Yeah, you're hitting too many oohs. Sounds like a name for a mouse. Both work. He does choo choo on a lot of things. Oh, we're so alike. We have one thing in common. A little bit. Oh, maybe she's more intelligent than I know. Okay. The teacher seems a little bit weird. Question mark? What is this? The fuck is happening? What? My sheet music. What? Are you pushing teachers down the stairs? Okay, Drew the goat. Taint. Hey, yo. Oh, he's kind of got that shit on, though. Do you guys still sleep in the same room? Isn't that awkward considering Kozue's persuasions? Kozue? Keep hitting that ko like it's an OU instead of just an O. She's pushing teachers down the stairs? Kind of based? I don't know. Some teachers, sometimes. Okay. Kozue? What an odd thing to say. I also agree with that. Himamiya Anshi. It's a look of disdain almost. Gotcha. And then we pick the rose. We're going to kind of amplify those dark feelings, I guess. Okay. I'm recording too. That's always good when you're halfway through the episode that you check that. Different music here. Different thing to say, because of course you're being replaced. Gotcha. Okay, we'll need to compare and contrast there. Also, Nanami got a super promotion. And yeah, both people turned away. That's great. I'm a fan of this decision. Interesting. Okay. In more ways than you know. Odd picture. As opposed to the sun. Of course. Oh, that's a long time. What day of the week is it? Is it Saturday? That would change things. Also teleports behind you. I love the choice of the metronome here. That's great. Indeed. Yep. Blender? Why? Oh, because milkshakes. Maybe. Butterflies? Metronome's very hypnotic, like we're in the elevator, almost. And butterflies. Who was that? Was that for you, or was that for Mickey, or was that for you, or? I don't think Kozue is. Gotcha. Okay, and then we're straight into here. Sound design this episode's fantastic. Yeah, it's time for you to descend. Yeah. But yeah. Oh. You're kind of toxic, yeah? I don't, but sure. I guess it's worth noting that you're obviously, is that sheet music? Or just pieces of paper? You're only going to say the worst aspects of yourself when in the elevator because you're delving into that darker side. So, again, we all have dark feelings sometimes. Indeed. Do you have a cool, edgy makeover? Yeah, she's got that ring on. Yeah, left side of the body too. Ah, the fucking soundtrack's awesome. At the end of the world is really cool. Okay. Oh, Wakaba's here. That's awesome. No way. Oh, this is great. Ooh, spectator sport. And then train. Oh no, we're on a train. We're traveling somewhere. I'm going insane. So you're being offered things repeatedly even though you don't want them to the point where you feel obligated to go along. Listen, if I was on like a plane or something and like the air hostess or whatever came past with the trolley 3 times during like a 2 hour flight or something, I think I'd feel obligated to buy something or get something extra or you know what I mean. Oh, very sorry about the mic there. I am intrigued by like obviously grabbing a sword out of Mickey, right? So he's like twin sister tries to like incest kiss him, and then he gets his shit so shattered that then turns into a blade for Cosplay to use. There is a lot of levels to that for sure, and this seemingly should be more powerful than Kane. I guess say Kane from last week. It's that 2 vowel in a row because it's going to be Kane. It's just not particularly easy for me to say. Didn't know how to end that sentence. All right, let's scrap. It's time to go. Oh, they're like a pitcher full of something. Indeed. I know. You're going to want to kill her. Yeah. Interesting there as well. Yeah, interesting, because, yeah, it's like a fencing sword. Probably pretty similar to the sword that Mickey actually used, right? We're in the time machine. There's kind of a bop. Let's go, chat. The colors on the castle, they were really awesome. Again, important that we've got another character that has a desire to want Anshi out of the picture. But it's a really, really odd motivation. Wait, you're just drinking all that shit? Okay. I love the time machine. Sick backflip. Let's go. What? Oh, wait, no. What? You're gonna fucking lightsaber her sword? Maybe? What is happening? Okay, so you got Power of AEST again. Same shot. There goes the rose. But what was the touch of the sword there? Obviously different framing to the kissing of the sword from, and we still go into our little groups there too, of the kissing of the sword from Anshi on Torga. But did that power it up at all, or was that just like a cool flourish? I'm unsure. Okay. Hopefully you remember nothing again. You did try to smooch him. This shit got incest up the wazoo. And yeah, you stayed unconscious until the battle finished, and then this is going to get burnt again. Sure. Okay, we're going to go through the student council again. I mean, jury's got a bunch of shit going on. So you actually forget, seemingly. Little kiss on the forehead. Oh yeah, the moon, of course. And again, associating the moon with Archeo. As we meet of the night, very similar shot, almost exactly the same shot. Show me those stars again. Okay. No way! What are we chewing on? Excuse me? Color me surprised. Yeah, similar structurally, but obviously characters going in directions I didn't think that they would go in at all. So still, obviously, very surprising. Overall, I got the like the kind of like structure of the house. You know what I mean? Like the skeleton of the episode of the structure is there, but we're just going to do weird shit with it. Stuff that isn't exactly the same as the first time we rolled through that same structure. Yeah, lots and lots of interesting stuff to be talked about there. Definitely, this incest theme is strong. Between all of this, we didn't really dive any deep into Mikage or Mamiya, really. We just dove a little bit deeper into, well, yeah, into Miki and Kozue and how they perceive each other, I guess. Which I guess I need to revise episode 5 maybe a little bit and see how that's reflecting Miki. Yeah, cool. Next episode. This thing needs more cowbell? Is this going to be a Nanami thing? With the moon? I think it's going to be a Nanami thing, chat room. I'm pretty sure it's going to be a Nanami thing, chat room. She's turning into a horse? What is happening? Okay, we're going to leave that for next time. What the fuck is this? Alright, whatever. I'll see you in a second. We'll talk about episode whatever. Well, what are we on? 15. We'll talk about episode 15. And we're back, chat room. That was episode 15. And it was kind of weird. It was kind of weird. It definitely had a Mickey focus. It seems like we're going through many different student council members and their immediate connection to whoever their other closest character is. And we're playing with it, whether it be the character themselves or a character closely associated that we can twist and corrupt and that kind of thing. They're definitely gaining power, if that makes any sense. So straight up, first up, we had Kane, right? Who obviously had that kind of Akio Anshi connection and definitely didn't like her very much as a kind of faux sister-in-law. Definitely thought that she was being kind of bitchy and weird and, I don't know, did some weird things that she didn't really like, and we're going to try to transfer that power into power of a duelist somehow using the Black Rose. It seems like the deeper the pain and the shadow and the blah 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 blah, the deeper the drama, the more power the fighter will have in the end. It seems like we're building up to, right? So contrasting the two, right? Kozue instead is building a lot of her drama on two different characters' dramas. It's not as singular. So that's why I think that she ends up being ultimately stronger. But yeah, what else did we even do in this thing besides all the Mickey stuff? There was all this with the teacher. You pushed a teacher down the stairs or something. That was pretty rad. I remember that. This kind of stuff early, just introducing concepts, and then we had a little bit of this, Jiri being cool, setting up the milkshake part, all this kind of Anshi BS. Oh yeah, Nanami took over the student council. We need to compare and contrast her little intro as opposed to everything else. And we had the scene with Utena and Akio and the moon and the association there. And then, yeah, ultimately we're just jumping deep into the elevator stuff. And yeah, I hate Anshi, so I'm going to become my edgy Spider-Man counterpart person with the Black Rose. And Utena's going to beat me. So yeah, that's kind of how the episode goes. That's setting us up for whatever will happen next. Seemingly, next episode is about Nanami. And we'll see what is going on there. So first up, we have this kind of shot in the hallway here, very similar to a walk that Utena has done a number of times. Listen, okay, so we're associating this with Utena walking past, because this is when she goes and sees the sunlit garden, right? Which is associated with Anchi. So this is almost like like we have one part of that duo walking past and then seeing their own version of the sunlit garden. So, okay, the thing that I wanted to say there without actually saying it is that this shot immediately puts Mickey and Kozue in the positions of kind of Utena and Anchi, right? It relates our main characters to these two side characters through the repetition of a shot, right? As Mickey looks out towards his sunlit garden, he sees Kozue, right? In the same way that in the first couple episodes, Utena would look out to the sunlit garden and it would be a sign of things to come. I just think it's kind of clever. I think it's kind of neat. Cool. So walking there, again, that's a very obvious shot. Stops, hears the radiant thing type sound, right? And looks across the courtyard there to see his old radiant thing, I guess, right? This kind of playing of the piano and this kind of time that he used to have with his sister, right? But there's a bittersweet tone to it, right? Because it's like this radiant thing that I used to think was one way is now being perceived another way based on this interaction, I think. I don't think, like, it's weird. Is this something that Kozue wants to do? Is it her intention to be this way around boys? Or is she doing it to spite Mickey? Or what? It's weird to me. It's we talk about it a little bit near the pool and in the elevator. So maybe I'll leave my judgment there. So yeah, you're just being you. You're just kind of hanging out with the boy. And then you notice that Mickey is watching along, and that kind of throws you off your game a little bit. But then you try to get your head back in the game a little bit, right? And talk about Toshiko and frickin' Atsushi, which is all very scandalous. And then turns it on a little bit, right? I think she knows that he's watching, so she's doing this and leaning in and doing all that. Yeah, like looking for him to be looking at you, so it's somewhat performative. But then in a similar way, without the artifice of the performance, Mickey is just talking with the teacher, who seems to be a bit weird. And he's very passionate about Mickey's piano playing and that kind of thing. Obviously, the piano playing being that radiant thing in the past that connected the two. So there is somebody that is in Kosue's mind getting in the way of their old radiant thing, which I think she has a lot of passion for, even if that wasn't exactly presented that way in episode 5, because we didn't get a lot of her perspective. She seemed very nonchalant about it back in the day, but maybe it was equally important. At least milkshakes were associating with it, I think. Milkshakes? What does milkshakes mean in this context? Either way, this guy's getting in the way of... Because what she says in the end is like, Mickey and I are the only ones that I want in the world, or something like that, right? So this guy's getting in the way of that, so I'm going to fucking push him down the stairs and send him to hospital and send him fucking running scared, right? But I guess my point being, there isn't a layer of performance to this from Mickey, right? He's just naive at this moment, I think. Because this guy's a teacher and he shouldn't be touching students like that, right? Especially this one. Ooh, scandalous, right? Yeah, almost grabbing his fucking ass. What are you doing, big dog? That's how you get arrested. And again, that gets Kosue's attention entirely, right? To the point where she pushes this guy away. I'm done with you, right? I'm using you to get to Mickey, and now I'm gonna push you away. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, this is different from her to what Mickey's doing. But of course, like last episode in this kind of conflict was entirely from Mickey's perspective. So it makes sense that we didn't see this aspect, right? Where Kosue's... It actually matches a lot. Because why else would Kosue be taking Toga to the music room, right? Because she knows, and Toga both know, that Mickey's going to be there. So it is performative in that sense, to the point where we want to get a reaction out of him. Both Kosue and Toga are united on that front. Okay. Either way, we drop in here with Toga again. He's just sitting back, listening to records alone in the dark. He seemingly hasn't moved since the last time we saw him. He's super depressed. And obviously that's going to worry Nanami. And she's seemingly going to stay in her, like, drip, right? Because she isn't in her school uniform later on when she should be, right? Does that make any sense? Like, because she's still in this when she's at the student council. Is she just going to stay in her dual clothes? They're really cool, so, like, I don't know. It's just very similar to Utena, no? In that you have, like, a different costume from everybody else that isn't, like, a dress. It's like pants and a shirt. I don't know. No, but even Utena wears a skirt. Weird. And then we check in with Mikage and Mamiya. Mamiya's listening to the Black Rose here, right there at the bottom, who says we should use the student council members before they have strong hearts and they may forge a sword with those hearts strong enough to take out Tenjo Utena. However, good point here, all these dudes have fought before and lost to Utena. Like, if you've seen the rest of the show, you know what I'm talking about. And then, yeah, okay, this is very direct. So, few can control their own hearts that are this young, right? We're all teenagers here, strong emotions, can't really control them all that well. We need to entrust the sword of my heart to another. So, Kosue. Kosue is going to get the sword of Mickey's heart and use that in combat. And using this technique, we may form a stronger duelist, right? So, thinking next episode, right? We've literally already got Nanami, in a sense, taking a proxy role of Toga. If we're focusing on Nanami, having Nanami using the sword of Toga would be powerful? Question mark? Very powerful. Like, how... Is there a more powerful emotion in the show than Nanami's love for her brother? Not really. And kind of manifesting that power and using it seems like a good idea for these two. Okay, I kind of understand their plan. It's pretty cool. And very similar to last week, we say, hey, we need a hand that can capture the heart of the student council members. Cut to kind of Mikage grasping air to the bubbles here. Again, if VLC wants to behave. And then you have Kozue gripping the water there. Very, very much linking her to whoever Mikage is talking about. So all of this seems so performative. Look at her actions here, right? She's like down in the dumps. She's like contemplative, thinking about the teacher, grasping a fist, conflict, right? And then she continues looking down. Her friends call out to her, and then it's like dejected look up, not much attention placed on them, right? And it's like, hey, change boyfriends again? And then, this almost half-hearted performance. I didn't change boyfriends, I added one to my collection. Again, playing this kind of man-eater, man-killer role in front of her friends. Is this really what she thinks? Is this something that I fell into this perception during episode 5, that she was this way? But in actuality, now that we focus on her a little bit more, she still sees that strong connection with Mickey as the most important thing, and is using this as almost kind of like a defense mechanism. That's what I'm seeing, right? And as we delve deeper past this facade, we get to know the real her a little bit more. And then, obviously, Mikage and Mamiya using that for their own benefits, right? Interesting. The friends here, again, so remember in episode 5, Kozue is kind of explaining her side of the whole backstory, right? And the girl that's opposite her, the girl that she's explaining the story to, completely focuses on Mickey at the very end. It's like blah, 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 this whole story, and then she ends, it's like, well, Mickey's so cool, huh? Same thing here, right? So we're talking about it, and it's like, oh yeah, I want to add Mickey as one of my boyfriends, one of the friends say, right? So then you're like, hey, he's got his eyes on this specific girl. Again, fist gripped. I wish violence on Anshi the same way I wish violence on that piano teacher. And again, looking forward, no longer eye contact on the girls that are next to her right now. Like, nah, I've got bigger fish to fry here. And again, the scenes just link together very well this episode. So it's like he seems to have his eyes on another girl. Bang, we get to see Mickey actively pursuing Anshi again, right? Remember how episode 5, he walks in at the very end and says, I haven't given up on her to Utena, right? And now this is him kind of putting that into practice. He's going to want to play piano with her again, right? Ask her essentially on a little date. And again, Utena's kind of clueless, but kind of not. She's clueless in so much as she doesn't understand everybody else's emotions outside of setting them up as matchmaker, but I guess she's conscious enough to know that Mickey likes Anshi and still wants to kind of set him up a little bit. But then, like, doesn't that fly in the face of your whole Rose Bride Prince thing? Question mark? Anyway, it's weird. Because again, just like breaks all the artifice, just like walks in with Mickey, breaks that barrier, and allows them to actually talk it out. I love Anshi's little domo domo as well. I think that's really cute. You hear the chime going in the background, kind of a little wind chime on the window there you can see. Just kind of, I guess, punctuating this awkward silence between the two, right? As Mickey here calls choo-choo, choo-choo. Listen, it's a kind of a Japaneseism. You'll see it romanji as kind of the U with a little line. It's either on top or underneath, I forget, where you kind of extend the vowel sound off of it, right? So again, choo-choo versus choo-choo. Choo-choo, again, being English, is like choo-choo. Like I'm going to choo-choo something. Like a mouse or something. They would choo-choo as a kind of onomatopoeia. I always thought that this was the interpretation why he was called this to begin with. I think we're kind of playing with that a little bit. It's an odd scene, especially translated. And then, yeah, Mickey here, almost desperate, clinging onto anything that they kind of relate on the subject of. I like choo-choo as a name for choo-choo, so hey, aren't we so alike? Yeah, this whole time, Utena just kind of playing matchmaker, right? There's this kind of penultimate moment in the conversation where Mickey invites Anshi to play piano, and she's like cheering him on. So I guess if it doesn't involve duels, you don't really care. Here's another example of what I'm talking about, right? So Mickey is like, hey, I want you to play piano with me after school. I'm going to introduce you to my teacher. He'll be very impressed with your playing. Please. And then, bang, we're going to cut to the teacher running down the stairs, essentially, right? Scared for his life. I think he got a phone call. I think the implication is, hey, he may have accidentally tripped the day before, and then he got a phone call that night saying next time won't be an accident, so now he's rushing down the stairs, running for his life essentially. He thinks somebody's after him. Obviously, the grand metaphor here of him dropping all the sheet music as he runs away, dropping Mickey as a concept after being threatened, right? Like, hey, this isn't worth it. This isn't worth, like, risking my life here. I'm gonna just fucking run. And of course, we have Kozue, who just missed him, would have pushed him down the fucking stairs again. And Juri, because Juri's, like, the Batman of this school, she just, like, knows to be here. I guess she like, hears things. She's very good like that. And she's very official and stuff, kind of law-abiding in her own way. So it's like, hey, there was a rumor that the teacher's going to fall down the stairs again, and I wanted to check on who was doing that, and it was last week apparently. Okay, cool. How stunning, Arisugawa. You sure know everything, don't you? I don't know everything, I just know what I know. Or something like that. That should be the next line anyway. Either way, we're questioning motivation now, and this is a weird one, right? Kozue will never forgive anyone who tries to taint Mickey. Important line. For that is the reason why you want to attack Anchi as well, right? The motivator for you to pursue this kind of Black Rose stuff. But again, to my knowledge before, based on the character perspectives we had in episode 5, I didn't think that this was you. I thought that you were very nonchalant, but that's not the case. You care deeply. Here's the very specific picture that we see in the end of the episode. Don't know if you can see that particularly well. Maybe go back a couple frames. Yeah, there you go. Like, full of a milkshake. It's got a milkshake in it, right? And these milkshakes are obviously connected taste-wise to Kozue and that radiant moment, right? With her and her brother. So they still kind of sleep in the same room, which is odd. I don't know any twins at this age that would still sleep in the same room, but, you know, different strokes for different folks and that kind of thing. The line here is, if I'll drink something that sweet, right? But then wanting the milkshake at the end of the episode. How can we reconcile this? What does this mean? So you're almost denying yourself of a milkshake right now before bed because it's a sweet thing before bed and you're not supposed to because that's what society conventionally wants you to do. But then by the end of the episode, you take away that side of yourself, that side of wanting to please the outside and just want to partake in the milkshake. Milkshake, Mickey. So you're denying yourself of Mickey right now, but you just want whatever you can get by the end of the episode? I think somebody else could maybe put this a little bit more eloquently. But there's, yeah, something with the milkshakes for sure. And then Anchi during that sequence, like running in and drinking all the milkshakes, that's something as well. And the cups there are almost genderfied as well, right? Yeah, kind of a blue cup which is drunk out of and a pink one left. Yeah, okay, weird. Either way, as was set up early in the episode, we now have Mickey and Anchi playing the piano together. Just, you know, as you do. Utena's still kind of there just watching, though, in the background. Just making sure nothing untoward happens with these two, I guess. But then, of course, notices Kozue doing a very similar thing, right? I don't know how to quite link it, but we're linking Kozue and Utena this episode because Kozue draws the sword from Mickey's chest, right? In the similar way that that Utena does from Anchi. Like, and they're both kind of standing on the sidelines here, watching them play. Odd line here from Utena as she walks over and starts a conversation. If you wore boys' clothes, I wouldn't be able to tell you two twins apart. I don't really know what to make of this at all, really. But either way, Kozue doesn't really care about Utena. She's got her eyes on the prize right now. Kozue kind of denies the premise that her and Mickey are alike. Because Mickey's the talented one, Mickey's the purity, Mickey's the one I don't want to taint, right? But then, you know, sees you, who is very good at this as well, better than me at piano almost, making a more radiant moment, and then feeling immense jealousy. Are you tainting him right now in some way? Is this just out of extreme jealousy and want to keep him for myself? I don't think I ever quite get here in the rest of the video, even though I probably meant to talk about it somewhere. If I do, maybe I'll go back and delete this. But I think there's a really weird thing with regards to sexual stuff and this whole episode, if that makes any sense. A purity versus tainted, and what that means for different characters and that kind of thing. and a maturity and linking maturity with sex and almost like Kozue's self-loathing coming through in the fact that she is, you know, a little bit of a man killer, that kind of vibe, and that Mickey isn't, to what I think, and like hating herself for not being pure as opposed to him, and then wanting him to stay the way he used to be way back in the day when things were easy and isn't tainted and never be tainted. And I'm going to hate anybody that Mickey likes because that's going to taint him with regards to making him more like me, which is just some immense self-hatred coming through. I think I see something like that, even though, again, I'm not putting it particularly eloquently. I think, again, once I get the whole picture here, it'll be a little bit easier to reconcile. But yeah, it's still stumping me. It's a very, very, very interesting episode. Yeah, it got them kind of murder eyes at her, like yeah, weird. But like I'm putting Mickey up on a pedestal, right? In a similar way that Mickey was putting me up on a pedestal without knowing all the stuff behind it. Like because okay, I think both of these characters' arcs, both Kozue and Mickey, have this really perfect like perception of this moment in time of either of them as perfect human beings, right? And there's a purity associated with that, something we want to recapture. They both certainly go about it different ways, but yeah, that we want to keep this moment in time as something like Mickey wants to pursue that again. You want to keep things like the same. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's something there for sure. Like the audience gets a view into Mickey that shows him as not perfect, right? Well, I don't think you've got that same view. You're still putting him up on a pedestal, the same way that Mickey put that moment in the past and you up on a pedestal as well. However, there was a moment for the naive Mickey where you slept with Torga and that kind of shattered things, and then hey, okay, that shattered my old Radiant moment, which was you apparently, because I don't know, he's a turbo virgin or something. And as a result, Mickey then went on to pursue Archie in the hope of protecting this purity, where you're doing a similar thing. You're taking out the people around him that could taint his purity. I feel like I'm talking in circles, but this is definitely the point that they're going for. Yeah, and at that same moment where she's kind of death glaring Archie, we get that kind of black rose pulled. Like, hey, it's time. It's finally grown. It's ready to be used. Okay, now's a really fun point of comparison. So normally in a Utena episode, we'll get a student council introduction type thing, and it'll play a very specific kind of cue in the music, which is very final and very like regal and that kind of thing, right? Like very almost evil, like evil villain music, right? As they do this little speech. Now it's playing like wedding music, and instead it's being narrated from Nanami, right? And she says something different here. If the eggshell is not broken, the chick will die without being born. So, okay, that's kind of similar. We have to break the eggshell. Cool. The Chamber of Freedom and the Cage of Freedom. At that same moment of dialogue, we have birds flying in the background, but also covered in kind of like a cage motif. Sure. Without revealing the vastness of the sky, they cherish the chick. Okay. The chamber... Who cherishes the chick? The Chamber of Freedom and the Cage of Freedom cherish the chick? So birds are currently content with the cage and the Chamber of Freedom, but they don't know the vastness of the sky, so we must break that cage to reveal the rest of the vastness of the sky to the chick, right? And of course, okay, so all this weird end of the world cult talk stuff is obviously linking to, remember the prince was like sitting on like an egg and he said it was like the world's shell or something, and that's the power to revolutionize the world. So whatever inside the egg is we need to cherish it, but also reveal its strength. It's complicated. Okay, sure. But it kind of seems like an extension off of the speech from before. So if that first speech was used in the first arc, this is now the one that's used now. It's kind of progressed onwards. So the chick has hatched, and now we must break the cage that the chick is locked in because it hatched into a cage. So, again, remember how this is taking it back to the Shadow Girl stuff, right? Remember how the shadow plays on a very, very small kind of window on the stained glass window, on that kind of rose window, and then we kind of expand it out? Similar things happening here, right? So the chick was originally in the egg and needed to be the eggshell to be cracked and expanded out. Hey, the bird's hatched, right? The chick is hatched. It's here, right? But now, like, we're kind of in this chamber. We're in this cage. Our scale has blown out, but we're still not free. There's still another layer to go here between kind of the vastness of the sky, the rest of the world. So hey, it's bigger than the shell. That's awesome. But there's still more to break down. That's a very clever little metaphor that's kind of being kind of pushed along through each little core in the series, with a theme in the first core and a theme in the second core, and potentially something at the very end, maybe once the Revolution duel has occurred. Interesting, we'll see. Because our world and scope has definitely expanded since early on. Either way, the most important plot relevant thing right now is, hey, Nanami's now president of the student council in kind of a proxy way from Torgo, right? We have both of the other student council members looking away, not revealing that, hey, they don't really approve of this very much. We're matching the movements of Nanami in this scene with the fan blowing kind of air in various directions, right? As she turns towards Juri, the fan is blowing towards Juri, turning towards Miki, blowing towards Miki. The very last one here is very clever, right? So fan's facing that way, right? But then turns to face kind of Juri as she like expresses some discontent because the end of the world doesn't seem to send them letters anymore, right? It's almost like the end of the world has given up on them and is a little bit more focused on the whole Mikage Mamiya route. The fan in the scene is also blowing all these little wind doodlies, which are kind of covering the background of Juri as she kind of sits nonchalant, nothing to do at the moment because there's no letters from the end of the world. Right? This shot again, this introductory shot as we go talk to Akio. It is currently daytime, not nighttime, because then the windows will come in from this direction. Again, building contrast between the sun and the moon, as we see further in this scene. So we're explaining that there are boys interested in Anshi, which is true. It's Miki. And of course Akio cares because, you know, he's her brother, but also other reasons. But if she's enjoying school life, then that's fine, right? I'm very glad that you're a good friend, Utena. Are you always thinking about your sister, Akio-san? And then this picture here, which definitely has romantic vibes. I've never posed like this with my siblings, I'll give you that one right now. Utena asks the question here of what it's like to have a younger sister, because Utena doesn't have any siblings apparently, and then he just puts down this little picture of the moon. And okay, if we want to be super clever, moon is Suki, with a T-S-U, with the Su sound, as opposed to ski, which is like, I like you, which is like expressing affection. You're linking the two, obviously, right? Put down the moon. So this is what big brothers think of their little sisters. Moon, which also means I like you. The moon, we often see it as something with no bearing on us. But from time to time, you look up at it and it inspires a sense of comfort. That's what I want to be for Anshi. And obviously this sense of comfort coming through in these kind of midnight meetings between the two when the moon is fully on display. At that same time, we have Miki looking down at his stopwatch, right? 42 minutes. She's kind of late. Apparently she was just in the sunlit garden. Maybe she was doing something else. I don't know. But either way, there's a lot of like great silence punctuated by this metronome in the scene, which I really like. Gives it some tension. And then Kozue's just here as Miki kind of falls asleep waiting for Anshi to arrive. Ready at the piano, right? We've also got the sun beaming in a very radiant way, creating the scene for the two. Kozue walks up to Miki and is immediately reminded of this radiant moment between the two. It was equally important to her as it was to Miki. This kind of sepia-toned image, this photograph of the past, this perfect moment captured in time. But then our perspective is shifted outwards, right? Kozue's more focused on another aspect of it as well, which is associating the taste of the experience. They had milkshakes waiting for them, right? And then butterflies with the milkshakes as well. Butterfly metaphor, which we see in the elevator, is kind of linked into this. So in the past, I was able to have milkshakes. I was denying myself of milkshakes, but now I may take a little sip, right? Look there, two butterflies flying in tandem, and then I'm going to lean down and give my brother a little smooch, as we see there. Just a little one, right? However, this is very poor timing. Also, Radiant thing. This is almost like her Radiant thing skipping a beat. But then Anshi walks in and witnesses it, right? Anshi doesn't really seem to care, but like fucking Kozue feels some type of way about it. Like really, really aggravated here. And at that exact moment, Miki wakes up, puts the end on his stopwatch there. It's been an hour, and kind of the scene continues from there. This kind of moment between the two interrupted by Archie. And again, much like the metronome in the scene, we get that kind of bell at the kind of, I guess, reception desk of the Mikage seminar, this building here, right? The memorial, whatever, where all the kids died. And she has an interview scheduled for today. She's ready to go into the elevator of doom and get a fucking rose put on her chest. Yeah, repeating a lot of shots here. This is Nomura Memorial Hall. She's 13, which I guess I knew, but I didn't really know. That's very young. And yeah, very similar soundtrack, very similar kind of sinking feeling to the scene as we delve deeper into her subconscious and kind of pull out this darker emotion. Very similar things, kind of the shake of the elevator, this kind of isolation inside, these kind of graves or kind of drawers that are the graves kind of passing as we continue. And yeah, this is the most concrete motivation we're going to get for this character. So, yeah, Mickey's my older twin brother. Ever since we were young, we did everything together. He's always been good to me. But these days, he pretends everything is fine. But if something happens, or I get hurt or shamed, he'll suffer deep inside his heart and obsess over me no matter how much he tries to hide it. That's why I go out of my way to find dates I know he'll hate. Are you trying to, okay. I think you're trying to go too far off the other end to break something for Mickey so he isn't concerned about you anymore in a very selfless kind of way. It's like I'm going to do these unpure things, right? These impure things in front of him to the point where I want to break this image that he has of me so that he can move on and do something else and stop doting over me. But, and now we go deeper and deeper, I want Mickey's attention, right? Mickey's attention is drifting towards that goal, so now that what I wanted to happen is finally happening, I don't know if I like it. Further away from me, and then yeah, elevator hits the bottom. I know your only choice is to revolutionize the world. You are presented with a problem, right? Instead of talking it out with the bloke, your only choice here is to go nuclear, is to try to revolutionize the world for your own little problem in comparison to the world. And a path has been prepared. We're going to pull another rose seal from that grave. I imagine this is just a bunch of sheet music. Either way, she's been rosed and she's ready to fight. Again, my colorblind is going off, but this is Mickey's blue rose here in this scene. Right there, walking into the scene, seen that shot before as well. And we walk in and we see Kozue playing that kind of Sunlit Garden little tune, right? Trying to remind him very, very much of the old days. Mickey looks at Kozue's hand and sees that the kind of black rose seal is on it. And then she leans in, hand with the black rose seal on it, grabs the face, right? And this posing's really cool. Then puts her other hand down the left side of his body, right? Where his heart would be. And then, yeah, she's kind of corrupted and weird and shit and has really dark eyes. What are you doing? She's leaning in to fucking smooch her big bro. In a way, kind of keeping Mickey all to herself. Falling into that desire below the desire that is the desire that is the... Anyway, she's fucking pretty complicated. I don't know if I understand her fully. Either way, Mickey disapproves, and then we're showing off the black rose seal. She has an evil voice going on. And yeah, hey, I got a big old black rose in my chest. And then... okay, and then Mickey's heart starts to hurt. He grabs his own heart. The music that was once the blackboard... Like we take a really dark view of the scene, this kind of red look. Remember last episode, Kanai, kind of in that doorway, and then the red happened, and then kind of silhouetted, and then we had the rose over the rose going in the chest. Very similar color design wise here. Yeah, kind of against this red backdrop. We have the new power. We have the butterflies growing from behind her. We're going to wield this power without restraint. And hey, there's a sword coming out of his heart that I'm going to now wield. I don't know why I didn't talk about the butterflies more. The butterflies and two butterflies in tandem kind of flying and being attracted to those milkshakes back in the day, in that kind of vignette scene of again, back in the day. And kind of this swarm of evil butterflies following Kozue around now that, hey, they're kind of metaphorically also zoning in on the milkshake. Does this make any sense? Now there's a whole bunch of this emotion coming out, being thrusted forward, and we're all after that milkshake, right? and the milkshake's Mickey. If you didn't catch my drift, I think that's pretty neat. I think that's really clever. This is weird. I wonder if this is set up for later. Like there's a schedule for our finals, right? So we have some tests on the horizon, right? That is not the thing that we're looking at the board for. Instead, we have another thing at the very bottom there. I guess as the other kids are getting this kind of bad news that the tests are coming up and that English and math are on the same day, Utena also gets some bad news because she has to fight tonight. Then we have the Shadow Trio, I guess, the Shadow Girls. Hey, it's very similarly framed to last episode, and they're all on a train, and there's like an attendant on the train that keeps walking past with hot coffee, sandwiches, and cold beer available. However, this girl here, she's the only one on the entire car. Is it really necessary that this person keeps walking past with this kind of trolley with all the goodies on it? To the point where I'm being offered this thing so many times, even though I don't want it, that I feel obligated to go through and purchase one anyway. I believe we also have Utena interacting with this again, just giving some really easy advice by saying you could just ignore her. Like advice that Utena herself should almost be taking, right? You could just ignore this request, right, to come up to the thing, but at the end of the day, she feels some kind of obligation to do so. Again, there's probably a more smarter interpretation there that I'm currently not seeing, but that's neither here nor there. We then do Absolute Destiny Apocalypse again. I still haven't noticed anything different. I think somebody implied that there was a difference, but I cannot see it, so sure. Now, this is what I wanted to notice. So we come up to the top. Kosue's got that shit on. She's got her fucking darkened shirt, very similar to Kanai last week. But all these pictures here with the milkshakes, they're the blue ones. They're for Mickey. So when Archie's coming along drinking them later, it's kind of spitting in her face in a way. You're drinking his milkshake where I want his milkshakes, because Mickey brings all the milkshakes, or has the milkshakes that bring all the boys to the yard. Anyway, I'm trying to be funny, but that's neither here nor there. I think the milkshake thing is something that needs a bit of a deeper dive from you guys, I think. I'm not quite there yet. Either way, very similar to last week. I swear on this Black Rose that I will win the duel and grant death to the Rose Bride. I like the dialogue here from Archie. So Utena says, let me guess, the Black Rose is making her this way. And then Archie says, that may be. So again, you're not being fully corrupted. You have one side of yourself that is being amplified, right? This darker emotion within. Like things that you wouldn't be able to say in a polite societal environment are being amplified outwards. So I'm not being changed, I'm being amplified, I think, right? And yeah, the stance is very similar to Mickey. Still got that kind of fencing sword. Like, hey, I'm channeling kind of Mickey's combat style through this weapon, and that's what's giving me more power. As always, we'll go through the lyrics in the song before going through the scene and the fight itself one more time. So we have Time Machine, to the past, to the future, Z-Fume, Shazoom. Okay, we're in a time machine. We're going both to the past and the future. Time Machine, my cute childhood days, obviously linking to this radiant scene that both Mickey and Kosue had back in the day. Making a carpet of lotus blossoms, playing with the dolls. That marvelous incantation, Fee Fee, sugar candies. I wore a pretty dress, the children's festival. Okay, a very specific moment in time that is very Japanese presenting. Right, blossoms on the ground, children's festival. I wore a pretty dress. Oh, my dream machine, a blizzard of petals. To my distant past self, 10210 takeoff. So I'm kind of taking myself back to my childhood self using said time machine. And then, yeah, there's this scene in the middle, which I'm sure I'll bring up later again, drinking them all the milkshakes. Then we repeat that chorus again, time machine to the past, to the future. Time machine to those days of dreams and hope. Hair tied back, carrying a boxed lunch. That marvelous incantation, Fee Fee, amusement parks, holy moly. My heart cries out, oh my dream machine, a blizzard of dreams. To my distant past self, 10210 takeoff, and kind of bringing a close to the music there as well. Okay, so let's go through the scene itself. We have Utena pulling the sword of Dios, of course, right? And then fighting with a special focus on these kind of silhouettes on the ground, the dead soul being used to generate this Black Rose seal. Come back to your senses, this isn't you. Utena keeps running with this line. Again, I've been through it. It is a part of them. You can't say this isn't you. It's just not the you that I see. It's not a perception of you that I got initially. Much to my experience with Kosue, right? I had an initial perception based on episode 5. that was not the case. Again, whilst these two are fighting, you're out drinking all the milkshakes. Once all the milkshakes are drunk as well, I think that's part of the reason why Causeway folds the way she does. All of you are an eyesore. Everything that isn't Mickey or me is nothing but an eyesore. Again, only care about me and him in that radiant moment back in the day. Want to achieve that, want to protect him, want to protect myself, but also I'm also self-sacrificing myself in a way, which I've explained. It's a really complex character. Her sword's really powerful. She disarms Utena here at this moment as well. Says that it's over for her. Causes Utena to dodge and do a backflip, right? Grabs the sword there. Puts the sword back to the point where she bends her head back and kind of brushes the sword with her hand, imbuing it with something. At that same moment, you see the prince's visage come down and inhibit her. We do the whole Power of Dios thing. I really love the face there as well, very similar to Utena's, but kind of got that Prince design. And yeah, brushes past, cuts that black rose. The desks come together, and we're ultimately victorious as that black rose seal disintegrates. That whole time, Mickey was unconscious. I think this will be a theme. If we grab a sword from a student council member, or whoever else is whose heart sword we're grabbing, will be unconscious for the duration of the duel. Very similar to last week, that coffin is pushed away and into hell, and Mikage implies that we're going to find more student council members to try this shit on, right? Implying next week will be Nanami, or not next week, next episode. Again, that little smoke coming out the top of the tower as well. We close this week very similar to last week with kind of this nighttime rendezvous between the characters. Both milkshakes are drunk this time, or they're not provided, or something happened. And we ask some questions. You seemingly have some form of amnesia about it. You were unconscious during the duel itself. There's some weird shit going on, right? The official story we're going with for Causeway's side is that she fainted from anemia. Now we're going to get some sleep. And you know what's good for anemia? Get some fucking blood sugar on you, right? Mickey kind of leans in for the kiss on his sister. Little peck on the forehead. And hey, can you make me a milkshake? Again, somebody could probably find a more eloquent description of that whole metaphor there. Also, yeah, bird cage. There was a caged bird in his little flashback back in the day as well, and they've got different birds that are kind of facing each other in the sky of their beds, which is very loaded. Very, very loaded. At that same moment, we have Utena repeating the dialogue that Akio said earlier in the episode about the moon. We often see it as something with no bearing on us, but from time to time you look up at it and it inspires a sense of comfort. At that same moment, we hear the elevator come off. She pulls off her glasses, walks over to Big Bro to be comforted by her big moon brother, to the point where she says, "Choo, choo," which is the biggest what the fuck moment of the episode. Kind of. And yeah, that's kind of the ending. I talked about that for like 55 minutes. That's pretty fucked up. Yeah. Okay. Now we're going to see Nanami turn into a horse or something, which is confusing. But we're going to see. All my furries fucking up and about for this one for sure. But yeah, I'll see you. I'll see you in a second for episode 16. Cool. We have episode 16 up there ready to go. I think it was already up, maybe. Now it's up. There you go. 23 minutes, 27 seconds. Sync up accordingly. Picture in picture. Some stuff subset. And yeah, 3, 2, 1. Let's jump into this thing. Radio? 3, 2, 1. Go. Yeah, Causeway's confusing. Because she's, again, I'm seeing like this self-sacrificey role for her where she wants to kind of, she perceives herself as almost impure and wants to distance herself from Mickey, but at the same time wants to possess him and make sure that nobody else is tainting his impurity. And then once the shadow comes out, it's like, hey, at the base of this veneer that I put on, right? I do still want him, and I do still care about him a lot, and I still want him to possess him for myself. And then, of course, we're relating that whole possession thing to these two that are on screen right now. That's my kind of read. But it could be one level too complex or one level not complex enough. I don't know yet. I'm keen for more Juri. She's like my girl. So Apparently it's Nanami. I like Nanami as well, so this should be a fun episode. You would imagine this has to do with Nanami posing as a proxy Torga for the student council, and then probably generating that into some angst and some drama. Red roses. Yeah, cool. But red roses. Indeed. Engage ring. Oh, and then it changed to white there at some point, and now it's pink? Sure. Indeed. I don't know. Tell me. The cowbell of happiness? Maybe she's turning into a cow? Thoughts? We're watching TV? Steve? Sebastian Dior? Archie, what are you doing, you weirdo? What is it? It's like a little TV, is it? She looks almost fucking hypnotized. It's watching like late night shopping channel. And she loves the Dior. Oh my god. Okay, another big event being put on at the household of Nanami and Torga. She looks very elegant. Yeah. Stecky indeed. Oh. It's a pretty big stone for the ring. Where's the third little girl? Little bully girl. Used to be a trio. Okay, is this like a dream or something? What is the prize of your collection? Holy fuck, yeah? You guys are rich. Oh, stealing the show. Ah, she's so cool. Oh, it's like made of glitter. Bro, everyone's here. So you Richie. I sure. Everyone's modeling or something? These guys are crazy. What are you doing? It's like beating the mochi. She's taking out her aggression? Yeah. Oh, you're the third girl. The fuck? Some cow thing? Is it another? Yeah. Yeah. Designer brand? Indeed. I know Christian Dior. I don't know, maybe I need to do some designer brand research. Subarashi. I love this Her voice is so funny there. Whoa, let's go. Whatever it is. What is it? Oh, it's a cowbell. Looks fucking stupid as. That's avant-garde. It's cool. It's cool. But not particularly elegant. Funny. You got the whole squad laughing. Oh yeah, and then Nanami's thing with animals, right? That's another thing that's going on here. Because animals fucking hate her. Okay. Where's Big Bro? Is he just chilling upstairs? No way. I need me some Torga. You won't miss her. You'll know where she's going. Indeed. Not elegant. It's got a little the Emperor with no clothes or whatever to this. Where she's walking around with something she thinks is luxurious without any self-awareness. Oh, this teacher. This is a funny episode. This is this is great. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it's Dior. It's cool. Mate, that'll ring the bell like crazy. She's kind of cracked at tennis, though. Oh, she looks so elegant. But what about when that bell goes? Love how we have this serious episode and then just like, oh yeah, it's the fucking Nanami cowbell episode. It's bold. It's unique. The little ring of the bell is so funny when she moves. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, you. Indeed. Hmm. The simps. Yeah, you wouldn't get it. You're just a stupid kid. Oh no, now Utena's saying it too. Utena, don't bully. He, she. Alright, maybe bully. It is. Utena doesn't have a leg to stand on here, I don't think. She had a whole episode about how weird she is and finding her own normal. I like the cowbell. Let people be weird. I just don't think that Nanami knows she's being weird, which is the problem. But if she likes the cowbell, fucking rock the cowbell. Who cares? Oh, Cowbell. Wait, she's waking up at a barn in her own little dream? No. What is this? Toga. What is this song? I love the cow shadow talking. What is this? What? She's being slaughtered? Go to cow jail. Sold to the highest bidder. Maybe when my big brother sells me as a cow to the highest bidder. Okay, is this going to make her realize some things? Wait, what? No, I don't want my brother to eat me. At least, not like that. She sleeps in it too? That's so funny. Oh, that's great. That framing was spectacular. That's great too. Oh, not in the shirt too. Oh, hell no. Why is she standing behind people in line? Rumination hygiene? What is happening? She's sitting in the shade like a cow. She's enjoying a sandwich like a cow. Moo! Boolong? No! Turn the shit off! Could you just be quiet? Hit the hay? Alright, settle down. Alright. Short orbu. It's kind of toxic. If she wants to eat some more, let her eat. The hair clip to give her some fucking horns? Or ears? Yeah, ears. Feito. What is happening? Bullying? What is happening this episode? Look how haunted it is. Indeed. You were like knitting something? Okay. Hello, Suabuki. She's a cow. Oh yeah, this park too. Cut the bull. Ridiculous. Utterly. The sub team has done an amazing job. Oh, great. Okay. So we're just going to drop that in wherever. We don't have to make it work in the scene. This guy's a dirty little rat. No way. Alright, I don't really get what any of that means, but sure. But you do reap what you sow, apparently. There's also a farm fucking 1 kilometer from the school. Just 1k out, couple clicks. And now I'm just chilling with the cows. We need Torga to tell her to ditch the cowbell. Is this a cry for attention? Man, you're so annoying. Yeah, figure it out. You're literally chilling in the fucking yard with the cows. Oh, the simps, they're crazy. Kalfstian. No way. Oh, the framing is fantastic. Quick, you may turn into a cow. I agree. Cower in fear. What? What is happening? This song again. Oh, red? So you're like a bull. Indeed. I agree. Cow Nanami isn't real. She can't hurt you. She's coming. Gotcha. Cut the cowbell like you cut the roses. This is terrifying. Oh, Matador. Oh, you're going to use that as to cut the bell. Okay, we win. We've been saved from the body horror experience of the year. Alright, safe. She's back. I agree. She likes a bit of luxury. Who was the architect there? I see. Oh, so it got mixed up. I have a pet cow named Nanami as well. Oh no. And then we imply we do the same thing again. Great. Not the septum piercing. Not again. You're not even going to show me? No way. Because it would have looked too good. I am so happy that episode was fucking weird as shit. I'm not going to say it had no bearing on anything else, but obviously less bearing than the episode that preceded it. That was bonkers, utterly bonkers, and weird in a way that not many other things are weird. And I really love that. People don't make enough weird shit. People don't make enough stuff where people like get fucking Dior cowbells and start to fucking transform into cows. Utena she started off being not kind of chill, but then she was kind of chill by the end because she got rid of the cowbell when it was like actively hurting her. Also, yeah, this whole episode is just cow puns. Shoutouts to the sub team. I don't know if it's that good in any official translations, but it should be. It should be. They should have went for every single joke like they went for there, because that's just brilliant. They tickled me pink. They most certainly did. I also think it's great pacing. We're just breaking up the serious episodes with something so fucking goofy. It's great. All right, give me a little taste of what's next. Okay, jury stuff. Okay, that's serious business. Can't wait for that next week. Jesus. Yeah, I guess we'll talk about the cow episode briefly here for a second. So guys, that was the cowbell episode of Utena. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Of course it was. So, okay, first thing I'm going to do is unironically praise the episode. One, for being fucking weird, but two, for being fantastic pacing. Let's face it, these last two episodes of Utena have been cryptic, mind-blowing, a little bit left to center, and hard to analyze. They're pretty dense, right? Again, evidenced by me spending the last segment talking about episode 15 in a fair bit of depth, let's face it, as well as 14. That video is quite long as well. Therefore, it's great pacing to have something so light after that. And again, I'm not going to act like there's nothing to it. I'm not going to act like there's no bearing behind anything that they're doing. It's a, pretty on the nose parody of designer brand culture, and kind of, it'd be even more interesting if it was like a sheep, if it was like a sheep bell, because then you could have the thing about sheep following designer trends, even though they're outwardly kind of stupid and not very practical, and just in the kind of pursuit of looking elegant. And just because it has a brand name on it, I'm gonna wear it, even if it looks kind of stupid. Again, I'm not a clothes guy. I respect everybody's fashion sense and that kind of thing, but I can't deny there's a part of myself that looks at some kind of stuff that's coming out at the moment, especially in the super avant-garde fashion space, and say, I would never wear that. That looks kind of dumb. But again, it's not my thing. I'm sure people look at this episode of Utena and say that's kind of dumb, even though I think it's glorious. It's just different strokes for different folks. Whatever you like, and whatever you're into, you're normally into the weird shit, right? Like, when you're really into something, you get into the weird stuff, is my point. I reserved the right for, I guess, Nanami to enjoy her cowbell and those shenanigans until it actively started turning her into a cow, and then I'm like, we probably need to stop that. There is some other stuff that's kind of interesting. I mean, a bull allegedly charged Nanami back in the day, and then Suwabuki witnessed Toga saving her from that, and that's a huge part of his motivation. And Suwabuki's present in this episode, also warning her not to become the bull. Is this anything? Is this just a cute reference? I don't know. Either way, It's fucking weird. I mean, has anybody seen that fucking Kevin Smith movie, uh, Tusk? It's kind of giving me Tusk vibes through this segment. Like, what the fuck is this? Are we serious? Are we being serious? This is nightmare fuel. I hate this. Anyway, the other indicator that this episode's going to be a little bit fucking weird is whenever you have this little prologue, whenever they remind you of the whole backstory thing that Utena used to have, I think there's a couple interesting elements here. Like we started off with red roses, potentially indicating some kind of Torga thing. So keep an eye on it, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, listen. Let's just dive into this thing. I'm obviously not going to talk about this for the same length of time as the episode that immediately preceded it. Let's be real. It's kind of a goof. It's kind of funny. It continues the Nanami animals theme for these goofy episodes as well. It reminded me very much of the Curry episode, actually, where it's just like this thing that is kind of like a fever dream. That did that happen? Did that not happen? Is it filler? Is it even canon? Who knows? It's fucking weird and I love it. Let's put it in that camp, I think. So we're starting off. Anchi is watching TV. It seems like a remote TV, late at night. A very 90s type invention, actually, these kind of things that they used to have. She's eating beef-flavored potato chips, which I think is very, very funny. And we don't get to see the screen, right? So I think the implication is she's watching some kind of livestock show very late in the night, right? Where, again, I was thinking it was like late night shopping for designer brands and that kind of thing. Again, that's the false sense of security that the episode wants you to be lulled into. It's got an elegant shimmer, of course, this cowbell. And in almost a hypnotic sense, she's got her eyes locked on this TV, in the same way that people later on are hypnotized by the immense wealth on display at this party. I think it's kind of funny. It's kind of cute. And yeah, now orders are open for this luxury designer brand Sebastian Dior pendant. Turns out Sebastian Dior is nothing. It's meant to be Christian Dior, like I thought it was. Sebastian Dior is probably their name to try to get around copyright stuff. They want it to sound like a designer brand, and Dior's a designer brand, so there you go. Oh, you can kind of hear it there. There's a little sound of a cowbell there as they show it off. That's great. And of course, you're looking for this for your cow named Nanami. It probably gets mixed up in the mail or something. So I'm guessing a few days later, we're putting on an elegant party over at Nanami and Torga's house. And Nanami looks very elegant. She looks like she's well-dressed, well-fashioned designed. She's the talk of the party so far. She's got a squad of people around her just kind of admiring her elegance. This stuff here and all the sticky about it is meant to set up this expectation that Nanami finds value in things that make her the center of attention and that look glamorous, right? She wants to put on this mask of somebody that's very famous and well-to-do and all these things, right? Very important things for somebody her age, I'm guessing. We get a peek behind the veneer here, right? They haven't seen nothing yet. I've got something even better coming. I'm having this party here to reveal the prize of my collection. A Sebastian Dior pendant, perhaps. Oh wait, no, this pendant. So where does the other pendant come from? I think, okay, does the other girl, like, mix it up at the mail? She says, can I get a delivery for Nanami? And then, oh, this just showed up. And then she just kind of runs with it? Weird. Okay, sure. Either way, then fucking Julie feeds the stands here, and she walks out looking... She slays, so let's be real. She slays. She's the best. We love Julie. Even Mickey's not looking too shabby. Nice little suit. A little bit big for you, but you'll grow into it. It's okay. And yeah, Julie's wearing some designer brand stuff as well. There's a little bit of tension brewing between like this episode and the one that preceded it around Julie and Nanami, right? Because she shows up to the party and she's wearing designer as well, right? So like... she becomes the center of attention, and then we kind of want to show up each other. I don't know. It's a bit of it's something brewing there for sure. I think this visual metaphor in the back here of her like smashing the mochi, right? That's what she's doing. It's meant to show that Nanami is a little bit angry at her getting outshined at the party. Either way, Nanami will get her kind of last laugh here as she finally receives something that's going to make her the talk of the town, the biggest, best designer piece. And yeah, immediately she's at the envy of both Mickey and Judy, right? They're impressed that it's Sebastian Dior, purveyor of the British royal family, and the most elite designer brand. And yeah, oh, if it's an elite designer brand, then great, I must wear it. Even though I don't understand where it's come from or I didn't order it, I'm still going to put it on without looking at it. Does her party have a fucking stage director? What is this? That's fantastic. That's so funny. Like, oh yeah, call the spotlights down on you know, the centerpiece of the party here. And then initially we're not allowed to look at what it is, blah 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 blah. She puts it on, and it's a big old fucking cowbell. There it is. Big old cowbell. Not small. Hanging off her chest. Hanging off her neck, I guess? Yeah, neck, let's say that, because it's a pendant. And then, yeah, so it's a cowbell. Everyone stops and looks at her with kind of a blank expression. We get this little, like, yodeling and this little doodle of the countryside, right? It's very similar to the scene that we see at the very end, right? Where she's in the field. It's very similar to this farm here. But it's meant to set up contrast. This is fantastic, right? So, yeah, design a brand. This will be the luxurious piece I need to steal the show at this party. And then, of course, the yodeling paired with the field here makes it look like, you know, comparing the British royal family to the farmers, right? It's from one end to the other, right? And yeah, Sebastian Dior cowbell. And from here on in, for a huge portion of the episode, it's essentially, what's the name of this thing? It's like The Emperor with No Clothes. No, it's got a way better title. The Emperor's New Clothes, of course. And again, if you haven't seen the story, The Emperor's New Clothes is nothing. He's walking around naked, but he thinks he's wearing something, you know, designer, something luxurious, and he's meant to be showing off, but in reality, he's showing off. It's kind of like this. And I think the point of the story there is kind of a jab at how people that are above certain people in social class will often do illogical things in order to continue to maintain this veneer of elegance over the other people, the lower classes, when in reality they just think you look kind of stupid. Yeah, that's kind of my feelings on the matter here. Again, this premise is goddamn ridiculous, and I love it. It's just, let's have Nanami wear a cowbell for an episode. Why not? And then stupid shoujo laugh as we pan out. Cue the montage of Nanami wearing the bell to school and pulling attention for all the wrong reasons. Oh, this is fun too. You see in the background here that that Archie's kind of knitting this sweater that she'll give Utena by the very end, which will come in clutch in a plot sense to kind of cut the bell or get her charging or that kind of thing, right? It's just a nice visual setup early for something that comes back at the very end. Again, I really like these episodes where Mickey just kind of hangs out with these two. He's kind of like the third one to this duo that we have, where he's just nice to bounce information off of because he's not as Archie isn't clueless, but she kind of is. You know what I mean? Like, you couldn't bounce this kind of stuff off of her because she's kind of off in her own world. She's kind of aloof in that way, where Mickey's a little bit more like, hey, we can bounce things off of as Utena. Also, having a conversation with Archie would reveal that, hey, I actually ordered the bell and that kind of thing. Where again, Archie's aloof and in her own world and doesn't really notice the cowbell shenanigans. I just love how proud she is of the cowbell, like showing it off to teachers and showing it off to all the students and stuff. Not a care in the world. And yeah, I guess all we can do is wait till she realizes, which will be very, very late in the piece. So yeah, she wears it to sport, playing tennis, she wears it in class, as she's posing for pictures. She's very, very proud of her cowbell. When she's doing a little bit of flower arranging as well, very traditional Japanese art there. Gotta have the cowbell on. It's a must. I do like this aspect of the episode as well. So we see other high schoolers around her, right? Kind of looking at her weird. Like, hey, she's wearing a fucking cowbell. That's odd. But they don't go up to her and confront her about it because, again, we're a little bit more grown up. We know that we're in a polite society. We don't say those kind of things to people's faces, right? You know, you say it behind their back a little bit in a very teenage way. But you would never walk up to somebody and call their cowbell stupid, you know? You would gossip. Compare that to my good friend Suabuki here, where he doesn't understand that social etiquette thing at all and just says it looks fucking weird. Because he's a kid. Kids just say shit like that. We have the simps here in the back as well. I'm happy that they're back. And they just follow every word that Nanami says. If she says the cowbell looks cool, it must be cool. And of course, reinforcing here that she thinks she's on such a higher level of fashion that she doesn't care what any of these scrubs have to say if they think it's weird, right? As long as it's, you know, got this perceived sense of fashion and glamour to it, I'm gonna wear it. That's how this works. Again, in a very specific piece of dialogue here, like linking the wearing of the cowbell to adulthood, right? To growing up and knowing that this is an adult sense of fashion. Again, the simps always agreeing, and then you compare it to Utena, who just walks up and says it's weird. Again, you don't understand all this social etiquette stuff very well either, much like a kid, where you're just going to walk up and call her shit weird. And of course, Utena isn't concerned with designer brands, and of course, we're going to spin that into, oh, of course, this she doesn't know, which, you know, not a great thing to call someone. But yeah, Utena beats up all the simps and yeah, just says, hey, you're weird. Stop wearing the cowbell. Again, Utena doesn't really have a leg to stand on here regarding weirdness, but again, she is proven right in the end when the cowbell starts literally turning her into a cow. I also like this background gag with this guy getting punched in the nose, then we're taking him off to hospital. That scene is kind of chaos as well. I didn't even notice, like, Choo-Choo's like stuck in a fucking bottle of tomato sauce here or something. Like, what the fuck is this? What is that? What happened? Or is it milk? Milk would make sense, because he's a cow, or she's a cow, or going to be a cow, as we see in this elaborate dream sequence. So the gimmick here is that it's a dream sequence and it's kind of weird. Her shadow is a cow, which I think is more indicative of things to come, and kind of speaks the words for her. Her mouth up here doesn't move, but her cow persona does. And yeah, she has cow dreams about Torga being a farmer and keeping her in the cow stable. We also have a really funny song here, right? This kind of almost country twang little folk thing about something. I didn't really read the lyrics. Let's give him a read here and then we'll go back through the scene, because I think this song's repeated later in the episode. Late one sunny day on the road to the marketplace, a wagon rattles along carrying a calf within. The adorable calf is to be sold. It looks on with mournful eyes. Then donna 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 donna, carrying the calf within. Is this like the onomatopoeia of the fucking cart moving, maybe? And yeah, that wagon be swaying along and then Torga eats a fucking steak. In a very similar way, during this little scene that we have, Torga essentially sells her to some guy who's probably going to butcher her and then turn her into a steak. I don't know what to make of that at all, but Torga's going to eat the steak of his sister cow, which is, you know, perfect sense. Makes perfect sense, of course. So then that dream gives Nanami no pause about anything, and she continues wearing the cowbell. In a similar way to the way that the calf is imprisoned in the little cage going off to town, we get this shot here, which has fantastic framing, showing her imprisoned as well. In a similar way that something must have been pulling the cart as well, Nanami is now pulling this thing along, right? Wearing a cow print shirt, you know, without explanation, inexplicably. She's never stood behind people in line before, like a livestock, like a piece of livestock would line up for something. She's mellowed out. She seems calmer. What is rumination hygiene? Okay, rumination is some cow lore shit. It's about something about their kind of digestion process. Apparently chewing, re-chewing, chewing the cud, that kind of thing. It's important in cattle and stuff. Yeah, weird. Sure, okay. Weird Wikipedia tangent aside, let's fucking get back into the friggin' episode or something. Sure. Where's my buttons again? There. Okay, good. Either way, Nanami be acting like a cow. She be eating way more than normal. She be lying in the shade in the field by herself like a cow. And cow puns. I will not do you the displeasure of going through all of them again, but just know that they are fucking amazing. I love them. I love the cow puns here. Yeah, getting lazier and lazier, not eating a lot, telling Suwabuki to go fucking call her name for roll for her. She's just gonna sleep in this grassy knoll. We get even more on the nose here as Nanami gets a new hair clip. And again, because Nanami is top dog here, she asks those couple little bully girls, what do you think of it? And then they say it looks great, even though it looks like friggin' cow ears. Nanami is still struggling for pace in PE class, you know, in the running activities, because she's a cow. Cows don't run particularly quickly. She keeps running slowly and sleeping in class, and yeah, the episode's really hitting the fever pitch here. You feel this really ominous tone, like something wrong is about to happen. We have Anshi falling asleep at the table, still knitting this little sweater, before being interrupted by Suwabuki, who is worried about his princess, Nanami. Nanami called him because she was hungry, but she didn't even eat what he brought. Instead, she went to the field. She went to the park. And then we lost sight of her from there. Oh no. And there she is with the moon. Oh my god. The metaphors here. So yeah, she's become a were-cow, which is cool. And yeah, she's fucking eating grass at the park because she's crazy. So this is fun too. I don't think we can find an applicable way to fit a Shadow Girl segment into this episode. So we're just gonna fucking composite them in because we don't really give a fuck. I think that's hilarious. It breaks the logic for an episode that is already breaking the logic. I think that this is a great move. I think it's hilarious. So, okay, I believe that there is Mousemillion, and he's a double agent mouse. So he says that we're going to put a bell on the cat to make sure that we know that the cat is around so we can run away from the cat so we don't get eaten. Who's going to put the bell on the cat? Well, apparently it's already been decided. The bell's already there. And yeah, hey, Mousemillion, you're the best. Thanks for putting the bell on the cat. So now the mice are under the false pretense that the cat is belled, so they won't be as suspicious because they don't hear a bell and they'll get eaten, right? So the cat, essentially, they think it's safe. They're lulled into a false sense of security, and the cat can still attack any time. And of course, this guy's a little fucking rat. He's ratted out his rat friends to the big cat here and gets his just desserts in the end by, not getting let go and getting eaten by the cat, as you do. And the pun on the very end saying that you reap what you sow, which is true for Mousemillion in this scene, and is, again, more evidence of the characters in the scene interacting with the shadow little vignette thing. I don't know. I don't know what else to make of it there. Obviously, there's the bell on the neck connection, but I don't think it's much deeper than that. So then now we're on a farm that is, just a couple clicks away from the school. And Nanami's in the field with her cowbell on, with her hair clips, eating grass on all fours. She's gone fucking insane. It's crazy. And yeah, she still isn't listening. She still won't take off the cowbell. And yeah, seemingly this little dialogue from Utena breaks her out of her stupor. She's like, actually look around you. See who you're with right now. You're a cow, dog. What's wrong with you? And then, yeah, except for the simps, they're just kind of following along because they're, simps. And yeah, here's the reveal. I don't know if this is funny. Is this funny, chat room? Instead of Sebastian Dior, it's Calfstian Dior, which is closer to Christian Dior, which I think is funny. So yeah, this whole time she's been parading around with a fucking cowbell on. We get this. This is much like the little kind of overpass we see as we look on the big fucking hill. And the colors go like this, and we hit with that musical sting. It's like when shit gets serious in the episode, this happens. And I really like this decision here. It's quite funny. And yeah, this coloring here is really fun too. Essentially, we're begging her to take off the bell before she turns into a cow. And then it's like, stop making me cower in fear. There's no way that I could turn into a cow. And of course, the kind of straw that breaks the cow's back here is this red sweater, right? As soon as Nanami sees this, something clicks in her mind and she goes full cow mode, which again is more of a bull thing. I do like this, it's like she's fucking evolving in Pokemon. It's fucking crazy. This little filter around her. And then, yeah, we have a spooky version of the song playing as well, the same song about the calf on the road to the marketplace, which is great. And yeah, Nanami turns into a friggin' cow. She looks goddamn terrifying. And of course, the justification being here, of course, the red and the bull and charging and all that shit. The other thing is, you guys played Bloodborne? This is giving me, Ludwig vibes a little bit, which is funny. It's quite ridiculous that Utena is using this and doing the whole Ole and the Matador thing, and it's full goofy. We're going full goofy time, and I love it. It really does remind me of the Curry episode, right? Or the other episode with Suwabuki, his introduction, where it just ends with kind of Kiryu Toga fucking punching a kangaroo. Just go full wacky with it and have some random animal charging somebody for the climax of the episode, right? Yeah, we chuck Utena the fucking pitchfork here, and we're going to use that to separate Cow Nanami from the cowbell and make her normal again. Again, this wielding the pitchfork here in a similar way that she would wield the sword during one of the duels that actually matter is a great touch as well. But yeah, we finally make her normal again, which is great. And yeah, we have three little fun scenes to finish us out here. We have Mickey and Judy here ruminating about people being enslaved to brands, which is one of the themes of the episode for sure, which again is not very convincing because Judy's got all the fabulous jewels on and everything and flashes them all. But then, yeah, we wonder what the deal is with the cow in the first place. It turns out that, again, as they've explained, Anchi has a cow named Nanami that the bell was ordered for, which was, again, in the very start of the episode, what she was actually ordering the whole time. And apparently this cow will be getting a new nose ring soon as well, and the cycle continues. Everyone's looking at her as she enters school, and yeah, we don't get to see her face, but she surprises the student council when she shows up with a nose ring. Oh no. At least nose rings are more conventionally used than, you know, a cowbell around your neck. And yeah, I don't know. I think Nanami with a septum piercing wouldn't look all too bad, because I don't mind the septum piercings. They're a little bit controversial, but yeah, I never minded them very much. Yeah, that was goofy, but I think that was also just kind of really fun. That was a great way to end out today's video, and definitely wouldn't have survived on its own, if that makes any sense. I'm very happy I watched 2 and didn't watch this as a one-off. That would have been a weird YouTube video, let's say. But that was great. I had a fantastic time here today. And let's close this thing out, huh? Next week we get Julie stuff. That's terrifying me. That's going to be another big undertaking for me personally to try to understand it all. And yeah, please comment. Please comment about that first episode in particular and what you guys personally took from it. I'd love to read it. Also hit me up on the Discord and that kind of thing. And just while I'm here, just chill stuff. Like the damn video right now. Subscribe if you haven't already. Comments, as I said. Twitter, I'll follow you. And Discord, join Discord, love Discord. Talk about Girl Utena and Girl Nanami and everyone else on the Discord and whatever else you want to do, really. I'll see you guys next week. Catch you later. Hopefully there's more cow shenanigans to be had. We can only hope.